pinwheels or finished stars or Yoldortu. These cookies are especially popular during the holiday season in Finland. Their unbeatable tender texture comes from the cream cheese in the dough, which pairs very well with the jam filling. And the dough is easy to make. 6 ounces of cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, 4 ounces, and I'm using a unsalted creamery butter. Cream this up, and of course that's room temperature, so it's nice and soft, and 1 cup of sugar, granulated sugar. These are very tender cookies and very pretty cookies. And the flavoring basically comes from 1 tablespoon of grated zest of lemon. Notice I'm grating just the yellow outer skin of the lemon. That's the nice, oily, flavorful, fragrant zest. And I love this grater because it holds all the zest. You can see that you have a tablespoon right there. And this gets mixed right in the butter and sugar. Very nice. Add 1 egg. If you're new to working with pastry, this cream cheese dough is a very good one to start with because the combination of butter and cream cheese produces a supple, forgiving dough that rolls out quickly, very smoothly, thanks to the high moisture content of the cream cheese. It also has a very tender crumb and a pleasingly tangy flavor that pairs well with sweet or savory fillings. And then you add your dry ingredients. 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Remember, baking powder lets doughs rise, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. The baking powder actually kind of lightens this dough, and that's the dry ingredients. And now add your flour to your wet ingredients. Low speed is good. I think a spoon works better. You want your dough to be nice and smooth and mixed. Our dough is very nicely mixed. Finland is one of the northernmost agricultural regions in the world. In summer and fall, Helsinki's markets burst with foods coveted by chefs the world over. That's because the growing season is short, with very long days of sun, and the flavor of the produce is very highly concentrated. It's fun to visit at that time of year. So now, divide into 2 and wrap into flat squares. Because this is so wet and sticky, just use the plastic wrap to help you shape this into a square. Make 1 square and then the other, and refrigerate. So, now's the time to roll out the dough. I find it easiest to roll on a piece of parchment paper. Flour it lightly, and here's your chilled cream cheese buttery dough for our finished stars. It has hardened up a little bit, and it's not so sticky feeling. And your rolling pin too should have a modicum of flour on it. And roll into a rectangle at least 7 inches wide and 14 inches long. We're going to cut it with a square cookie cutter, 3½ inches square. With enough flour, it really rolls out very nicely. So that should be good enough. And cut the squares. Now, if you don't have a square cutter like this, of course you can use a sharp knife and a ruler. You could use a pizza cutter. So there, you should get about 8 out of each one of these. If they're cold enough, will come right up off the parchment and be placed on a clean piece of parchment on a cookie sheet. And if they get soft or misshapen, put them right into the refrigerator. And then I'll show you how to shape them into stars. So now, the fun, making the beautiful stars. A teaspoon of your favorite jam. I love raspberry or apricot or plum or strawberry. You can choose what you want to put in the center of your finished star. And then, with with the point of a sharp knife, cut from the jam to the corner, every corner. And now you pull one corner up like this and form a pretty star. Isn't that beautiful? It's fun to do, beautiful to look at, and it is very effective after it's baked. And because we want them to hold their shape, I would suggest if the dough is, again, too soft, mine is just getting a little bit too soft, put it right back into the refrigerator. These are going to be glorious. And now this is an egg wash. It's one large egg with just a little tiny pinch of salt, and with a small brush, soft brush, paint all the exposed surfaces of the dough. I've seen some bakers just spray an egg wash on the cookies, but I find that it does discolor the edges because it drips around on the parchment paper and gets a little bit messy. This is one way to guarantee a very neat glaze. The egg glaze gives a beautiful glossy, slightly golden color to your